Today, I'd like to talk about Deadly Premonition. Ooh. So, while I have both the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 versions of Deadly Premonition, I only played through the PS3 Director's Cut. Deadly Premonition is a very interesting game because on the surface, there's many aspects of it which are terrible. One of the aspects is that the graphics are just bad, and the performance is bad. Like the PS3 version, I don't know if it had worse frame rate than the Xbox version, but it was pretty terrible, and it actually like hurt my eyes when it's running at like 15, and I couldn't play Deadly Premonition for like that long of a time at one sitting. But it's one of the few games I got 100% on. I think it took me like 40 hours or something, but I really enjoyed it. And Deadly Premonition is interesting because it's a horror game, but it's not super scary. It's very similar to Twin Peaks, which I'm a huge Twin Peaks fan. And let's see. Well, to some extent you have to play it to really understand what it's like, but it's very quirky and it's very different, and the controls are terrible, and the graphics are terrible, and even the performance of the rendering the terrible graphics are terrible, but there's like such a soul to the game that shines through, even through the terribleness of several aspects of the game. And it's really fresh and unique, and the story is really interesting, and the way it's set up into chapters, and the way it's written, and all the characters in the world. It's kind of like Majora's Mask, where you have your bomber journal. Well, they don't have a bomber journal, but basically all the characters in the world are on a schedule. They go about their daily lives, and it's your job to interact with them at certain times in order to complete all these missions. And there's like a huge amount of side quests, and everything is sort of funny and quirky. And I mean, the horror elements, they have some really interesting, well, they don't have that many enemies, but the sort of the positions, like, and the look of the enemies are definitely pretty creepy. And I think I mentioned in this stealth video, they have these neat sections where you essentially have to hide from the main enemy, and you have to hold your breath at certain times, and I think it works quite well. But yeah, I think the real star in Deadly Premonition is the world, and I'm super duper excited for D4, which is Swery 65's next game, Xbox One exclusive. I think it uses Kinect, but he wants it to be played like with one hand so you can eat popcorn while doing it. I mean, the guy's really has sort of an interesting approach to game development, but the world is so rich, and it feels like an actual world, and all the characters are super quirky, like, and to some extent I think like the weird animation almost lends itself well to this. The characters behave strangely and animate strangely, but it has this charm, and it's really sort of a unique experience. And I believe they just released a director's cut on Steam, which probably would be the version to get, because I suspect you can put in, like your massive video card and actually run at a frame rate that doesn't hurt your eyes, hopefully. But yeah, I think I mean, I loved it, and I feel like I didn't actually convey the charm or the quirk that this game captures. But I think it's definitely worth a look, and it's definitely sort of a different and fresh voice in games, which, there's a lot of samey games released, and Deadly Premonition is something that doesn't really fit into any established mold, which is really great. And the characters in the world and the quirk, it's just so funny and interesting. I certainly loved it.